Right, I mean, if Loud can't rely on that, the factor of, you know, Digizine, right, constantly opening up the game, giving them 5v4s, then feel even worse about their chances than on the previous map. Especially given this is a pick from TEJO, no less.
Yeah.
What a clean, flawless pistol.
Can be a little bit more difficult to capitalize off your teammate's utility when you're playing the Yoru as opposed to the Neon 2. Unless you've got the teleport set up, and here just completely left on his own. The suppression came down, so he was just about to get information that there were about 18 million people in a lobby, but ends up dying before that comes through.
That's the opening here. TEJO going to straight away pivot into a pretty big Stinger cohort. PXS rifle in hand now.
Giga Chad, first day on the big stage, goes for the rifle round 2.
Yeah, dap me up, boys. I'm going in.
I love it. Oh, Oski is trying to get in front of the util. That's not a clone. That's a real one.
Okay, takes a face full of damage here. Does that end up being a difference maker? Doesn't necessarily look like it. Regen shield for Askia, so back to 25 armor at least, and Cowan's in, caught in the corner, sat on top of the TEJO util anyway. TEJO are breaking upon this Loud team, and they found themselves that player advantage. We'll have Digizine coming through with a wrap here, but he'll be spotted out.
He's sneaking into sight. He only wanted to try and do some damage, but yeah, he's seen. Couldn't catch the timing. That's a solid round 2 for TEJO.
Okay, there's some real pace to the game here for TEJO. So much so that Askia is taking damage from the guided salvo just to try and get pole position as he approaches that A site.
Yeah, and him doing that, by the way, it forces, or it stops Loud from getting anyone to cross over to that box in A main to play that sort of tag team setup where you can swing off each other's contact. It's for a good reason, from the salvos and the Astra smoke.
And again, this is not a map we've just seen much from TEJO, in fairness. It's hard to know what to expect here, but so far, they've been dynamic. They've been pretty decisive when it matters, but this is the gun round. This is the important one. And they're looking to be early.
2 players from TEJO upgrade into rifles this round after dying in round 2. And those, for the most part, are going to be working into the mid space. There's a star to turn into a pullback here for Vinny to play off, but it's not there. It's too late.
It's a little ugly. Gabera and LZ take some damage from that exchange, but TEJO more than happy to keep the pressure on.
Thorns activated.
He's always on his own. His Link player dies, his team is way out of position. He's trying to move around this site, get in front of the util, but it's Askia swinging with a stinger. It's falling apart for Loud.
And there's a grapple over towards Link, buying a little bit of time for Loud, but not enough for 2 years to get the help that he needs. Pancada finally is able to chime in. Silence out of the game, but now there's a smoke in tower. And Link is being occupied by TEJO in this post plant.
Super active post plant. I love how TEJO are playing this.
Okay, Askia falls here. Pancada's able to find him through the smoke. Those still 3 rifles to work with for the attackers. And Loud are getting a little bit lean on personnel. Here's Gabera. Here's the tap. Cowan's in, good for it. Awkwardly caught, but util in hand, and it's the TEJO curse striking again. Cowan's in, clearly unaffected by it though, as LZ now has that stall util. Grab well used. Cowan's in, forced off the spike. Now swing. LZ sees it. Buying time, buying time. It's expensive here for Loud, and now they've got to throw Pancada in the situation.
There's no time. LZ does it again. 2G keeping it working after taking map 1 against Loud.
It's not the cleanest execution out of that first gun, but again, you just can't be complaining about that if you're TEJO. They'll be able to buy into rifles, they'll have full armor, no problem. They've crossed the first hurdle here on Pearl.
The Red Bull clutch for the in-game leader. Taking the range for the first time here for TEJO. But at the same time, like, Loud getting themselves into these positions consistently where the fight into Link is awkward, their Astra util is on the ground, but it doesn't come in time for Vinny to work off of.
Conversely, LZ does a great job stalling the defuse and plays off it.
Exactly. TEJO also continuing. They were doing this on Lotus too, where they were playing super active, super up in their post plants, especially on the A site. We saw that there as well as Askia. Simple clear.
He's clowning Digizine in these early rounds, man. It's a thing of beauty.
They're winning everywhere. They win B main, they win A main. Spike was in spawn for all of that. Now going for their ones here, and they win that too.
They're going to win so much they get tired of winning. Can't see the Pancada.
And sure, look, Loud have no guns, but like, TEJO aren't playing like a clean, perfect macro where they group up, you know, aren't going to get timinged at all. No, they're taking their ego fights and they're just winning them because they can.
Cowanzine is that last player standing and really just transfixed here. In awe of what TEJO have been able to do, running roughshod over Loud these 4 rounds consecutively.
I really like how TEJO are playing the post plants too, with LZ playing into Link, this time super deep towards doors after being seen. The spike is also planted for him to be in Link. Now bottom right corner of sight. That is not common at all.
Now Loud have to start game planning for that next round. They do have, of course, like the retake wall potential here with the Cosmic Divide. So again, if it comes down onto B and they've got to make a play for that, they've got options. Cowan's in here, just go for it. He's going to be able to buy anyway. There's 2G again. That shaky economy coming out of the third round, starting to be salvaged.
And now in a polar opposite to map 1, where it was 2G falling down 0-4, now it's Loud in a similar boat. Loud, this next round coming up is massive. Like you pointed out, they've got the Astral Wall. They're one away from the TEJO ult too. Those ults play off barely nicely off one another.
SDK, they're looking, yeah, pretty unimpressed with his team's outing so far. Can't blame him. Calls a timeout here.
Seriously. I mean, where's DigiZin? 0-4 to open up the map after
11-2.
30 bomb, 11-2 in opening fights. Like, come on.
Picked up, I mean, there's a potentially, or at least we can see he's picked up an operator on the defense side. So won't have to, work his way halfway down B long, can play more passive over towards halls. And 2G have to shift into protocols in order to push him off that line.
This is where I wonder what 2G's call coming out of the timeout is. Because if they're looking at the money and they realize, hey, DigiZin could go for the operator here, they could just run a fast ult play with the Yoru, right? Use the Yoru ult to get full scouting. You're never going to be fooled by any of the lines that the enemy Yoru is going to be playing with the ult, because that ult lasts for forever. You can fully clear away sights. It's not like a Sova drone where a late swing can come in. That's not possible.
It doesn't allow for the repost of the angle by the ult player. You can also get into halls with it, right?
Yeah.
And that might ultimately force a player entirely off B into a retake spot with an ult, which feels awful if you get smoked out in tower or links.
Yeah, where it could be a problem for 2G is if they do play a slower round and you allow DigiZin to get pushed up B long or something like this, but I think the call for them is going to be relatively quick.
So 2G now, maybe suspecting there's an operator at play for DigiZin. Just go to a part of the map where they're less likely to see him.
Yeah, so it's going to be 4 players into A, maybe 5. I think the Yoru ult is going to path into Art. That's what the pings looked like, with the TP to go back into spawn if necessary.
Looks like that's the case. Into Plaza, and Dimensional Drift going to be popped instantly for Askia. Not a whole lot to see here.
Sees a wall.
Sees a banana taped to the wall.
Drone in main, spots nothing, so yeah, pretty easy to scale on in.
Okay, here we go. In the dugout, though, is 2 years. The clone spots him out. And here it is, a heavy util that would clear dugout otherwise. It's going to be respected by 2 years. Plays off of it. PXS now, reassuming control of Art.
2G are fighting back into Art exactly, but Loud's position in secret gets them back onto the site very quickly.
Full cohort of Loud alive, and no! That's not good at all. PXS is finding these edges everywhere. 5-2 right now. And all of Loud basically grouped up in that dugout direction. They've got to try and flood the site, but there's so much Astra util covering it. Util that can be used to stall, can be used to just frazzle, frustrate, and frankly disorient the defenders. Okay, Armageddon to the mix.
Are they gonna save? I mean, there's a late wrap. PXS is being held by the op. It comes off the angle!
There's no point. There's nothing to be had here. They've got to get out, but PXS might not let them! 3 for the newcomer, and he is loving it, folks. Oh, okay. Does get caught out by 2 years, but there's naught to do for Loud. Their 5th consecutive round dropped. Hard hit over towards that A site here for 2G. They can do no wrong on Pearl.
A disaster piece for Loud, pulling off the angle there. They could have lived with 4 guns. Instead, PXS farming all of them. The operator is carried over, I suppose, but these rounds are just brutal. I feel like 2G is catching every timing, and even in situations where like Loud are primed and ready and are right there ready to fight, nothing's going their way.
It's a tough retake at the best of times on A, and the worst part is they commit the Cosmic Divide for a retake, Loud. They just get no value out of it.
And Kawa dying means they don't have the TEJO ult. I think even going for the operator, in hindsight, might have been a mistake, knowing there's a Yoru ult on the other side.
Digis in. Suppressed. Stuck in this spot. Dangerous. Should be able to walk it back, though. Askia steps out. Flash. Decoy. And so Loud will actually have a player advantage. Finally, a first kill for DigiZin. It feels like it's a long time.
Loud's positioning on A, having 2 players in main, could be pretty pivotal in a round like this, even with the Sheriffs, because 2G aren't sending any players there to clear them out. Stalling out the plant, putting pressure down with the TEJO potentially if they're able to snipe away a kill or 2. But actually, it's TEJO that put a smoke on A main, so they're fully prepared for this.
Yeah, TEJO might have seen it with a Prowler. It's unclear if they know about this presence in A main yet. Silence down though, nice Sheriff shooting here. It's an awkward buy for Loud.
This is the problem though, Spike hasn't been planted, the smoke is down, there's still players in main, and there's players towards the enemy spawn. Like, TEJO are getting pinched.
I think Gobera is going to be crucial here. Find a way to relieve some of the pressure that will be coming at TEJO. It's a tap for PXS. Kawanzin, unfazed.
30 seconds.
This is where this TEJO util for stall starts to become a bit more of an issue.
They're so patient.
Gobera has not gone for this play through water.
Spike planted.
Passive line, we do get a spike plant that isn't interrupted.
It's all on LZ here, 1v2.
Okay, here's it. Nightfall comes in, catches onto both players over towards A main. LZ is going to get busy. Briefly suppressed. Here comes that Armageddon to try and clear Art. PXS has to move out of it, and he does. Takes some damage though. Here's LZ. Oh my goodness! What is that spray? Finds Kawanzin, but now to 1v3 for Gobera. Stall, util is there. 2 years off the spike for now. Stars come down, Digis in. Shot baited, taken down. Gobera, almost. 2G play it close but loud. They spend a heck of a lot to get on the board.
It is unbelievable that that round is even remotely close. Look, Loud, they're on an eco, but the positioning they got themselves in with the opening pick, with the operator down B, the pick back towards their own spawn as well, like, there shouldn't be a chance for 2G to win this round. Having 2 players in main. If you had that second kill from LZ, like, what?
Okay, deep breaths. 2G, of course, still very rich. That defense side operator still maintained though, and Digis has a dimensional drift too.
Carrying that op over, not losing the 5th player 2 rounds ago, meant everything for Loud. It's the only reason they had a shot last round.
So it might be an attempt at a B-side take with Astra Wall here.
The old classic.
Yep.
I've seen this every time ult's been up in solo queue.
Still a question though of how you're going to get this Yoru player off the site.
Down.
Kawanzin goes hunting here.
Yeah, well, PXS has held on to the haunt as well as having a seize, potentially trying to catch out some of these players. Very patient for 2G. They've got to commit into this. They have no position anywhere else on the site.
They're going to flash out of this smoke here. They come. Askia sees a heck of a lot of action going on. Digizin's able to find one. Gets out. Back towards Halls now with the op, but a Steel Garden's going to connect, so he's down to his secondary. He opts out of it. Dimensional Drift popped, and he will see it all. 3 players here for 2G, all spotted, so no other resources committed, and there is that wall in play for 2G. Still no plant yet. Digizine might look to interrupt, getting back behind them over at B-Long, and Silence goes down. That's a spike loose time board for the rest of Loud to get ready.
Smoke has blocked him off, so now 2G can put the spike onto the ground. No any utility to get back onto the site, and LZ is trying to challenge onto the angle, barely coming down before getting shot. He wins the fight!
This is going to feel claustrophobic for 2G, but they got rid of Pancada. 2 years adopts the same position. But now, 2G have no reason to show themselves. They've got to be dug out by Loud. Digizine has opted for a rifle. Got that Vandal in hand, is able to move up the site, and then an Astra util to stall is in play for LZ. He can do it all from here.
1 enemy remaining.
PXS, crucial. There's the gravity well now. Digizine running out of options. In a 1 versus 2, trying to go for it, trying to bait LZ out into the open. Just as Loud start to find their footing here. It gets a little bit shaky, but Digizine is found 3 and 4. What a save! Digizine.
It's a close one!
No, sir! No! 0.2 seconds. And for Loud, the money is, it's awful. Oh no.
That is bad news. I mean, LZ taking that fight. This is a 2-on-3 situation. They're pinched from enemy spawn and long again, just like in the previous round, but this time they're successful in working forward, winning those fights. And even though Digizine gets 4 on the round, the amount of time it took to get back in there is just not good enough.
Such a chaotic round. Loud try and mix it up, flash himself out, smoke it. Doesn't go the way they needed to, and then the operator finally wrested from the grip of Loud.
Round is playable though, with 2E's having the ultimate. There's options. Loud also creeping out into this mid space, potentially for a quick flank. Flooded through Link.
Okay, briefly, 2 years is spotted out. I mean, God, losing the Vice early would be devastating for Loud. That's so critical, the Steel Garden, to their chances of having fair fight in the round.
And the one Guardian is the Guy that's over in the enemy spawn. No chance there.
Okay. So Gate Crash, usually by Askia, gets ahead of some of this util. We're not into horse yet. They can't dig out the vice. Time being bought. Digicine almost caught there with util in hand. Gets rid of LZ. Critical player and okay. The classic sings for 2 years.
And look at the flank. The Guardians walked all the way up. Vinny is waiting, boxing these players in, playing right up on top of the Vise wall.
So there's no options. There's a clock ticking now for 2G. I'm not talking about the round timer. They've got to get over to this B site now, but it's awkward.
30 seconds left.
As the Arc Rose getting work done. Cowanzine trying to dig PXS out of that position. 24 seconds, eyes on the clock, folks.
Vinny on the move now on the flank, making a lot of noise. 2G have to act fast.
Yeah, happy to let that shield wall herald his arrival, and so 2G have to go for it. They're forced into an error. Loud able to cobble them up here. Gobera doesn't know where to look. Big thrifty from Loud. Clawing their way back into this game after a nightmare start.
Loud in these ecos. Continuing to go their way. Those are the only rounds they can win, it seems. And it comes after almost getting owned on a timing here, but re-swings off the flash. Good off angle, held backside 2 from Tui's. The second that guy's trying to clear the left corner, he's swinging around the right.
You said it, round was playable, especially with that Steel Garden. Now, 2G. Again, so many of these rounds were so close to that economy. Trashed. No ults, forget about that.
I want to see 2G do something in mid. It's just kind of been side hit after side hit for the last few rounds. Haven't seen the slow work, haven't seen the Vise wall challenged.
We've kind of seen like PXS when he gets into water. Like there was that crazy round where he's able to really punish Loud, but you're right, not a whole lot of work in link.
Yeah, it's oftentimes later in the round or even in the post plant trying to push in there.
Vice wall is going to be triggered. Once again, Loud do commit both their A players into main to set up a potential crunch if 2G commit through Link.
Ooh, pretty deep drone, spots nothing. So yeah, Loud should know this mid space is being taken advantage of. You got Vinny playing back towards spawn, throwing a knife actually. See if anyone's up close.
So far, pretty impenetrable here for Loud. All of this stall util. Pancada to play from behind it, quick snap. Nova Pulse here, but nobody to be affected by it. Pancada mildly smoked out, just make sure he clears it in case it was a Durka moment.
30 seconds left.
Pops down the smoke to break the one-way there.
Askia.
Good fights.
Beautiful from Pancada, very clean. Askia challenging as well, the Razor Biden, risking laceration to try and come from an unexpected angle. Eventually Pancada goes down, but he definitely got his money's worth this round.
Yeah, like that off angle he was working from back pillar.
10 seconds left.
We know
Fight on the
case.
same line.
PXS turned into mulch and Loud. This is.
Yeah, embedding the Yoru over onto B.
They're playing as if there's a plaza push up from the defenders.
Oh no, boosted up, Digizin gets the kill. Yeah, they had their own Astro Smoke put down long, trying to threaten a pop into there. But Digizin take the fight, baits that out. Now the play into Art and A main is very telegraphed, so Loud can start leaning 3 players towards that side of the map. This is an annoying round for 2G to fight their way through.
Okay, 2G gonna have to go for it here. Pancada though, any shoot. Knows that all the action's coming from Art, and I don't know if this wrap here from A-Main's gonna be quick enough for 2G, so step on up and get knocked on down, says Pancada. Yeah, Silence here just didn't have the timing to be of any use in that fight, and unfortunately for 2G, they just come off an eco round. Silence here. He's gonna have to probably take this gun out of the round if he can.
It's brutal. I don't think it's gonna happen.
30
Tui's already
seconds
has him
left.
boxed in from window. I really like the way that Loud have reacted to the mid-attention, right? If their wall's ever triggered or they hear audio in that space, there's 1-2 players stepping into A main almost immediately. You've also got Digizin that's not backing away from the angles on B. He's jumping up. It's a little bit risky, but I assume flashed himself onto that
10
line
seconds left.
to win the fight. Oh no, you never crouch those angles! Different elevation, that's the way out of a fight.
Okay, Loud has built back into this game well and truly now. 4 out of the last 5 rounds won. No chance for 2G to stabilize an economy. And they're back to half armor Sheriffs in this next round.
There you go. Self-flash into pop-up. Gotta love that.
And look, that's something that I think the very round that Digizin first got knocked, 2G were kind of aware of. That round they went over towards A, they tried to avoid it entirely. But eventually you have to pay the piper. You have to do something about this Yoru.
I'll return.
Well, I'm anticipating 2G. Maybe grab the Yoru ult here if they want to commit that into the round. It's a fight in A-main. Counting is up in this.
Okay.
Hello? Just in the thick of the utility, 2G continuing to challenge on that angle. Will eventually push Loud away.
Rifle? For silence? Yes. 2G really fight doggedly for this A-main control. Have it get themselves a rifle upgrade as well. And now, LZ does give his position away, of course, with that shield wall activating, but you're not too bothered about that at this point. Cat's definitely out of the bag. So here's that defensive side in Null Command. Hard to set up now if you're the Astra on 2G.
Well
You're
divided.
happy to pull one ult. You're even happier to pull a second ult on an eco just because of the early work done. And now 2G don't have to instantly commit because they showed that player breaking the wall in mid. There's a lot of pressure going into the center of the map right now. Loud have a lot of questions. So you've even got TEJO trying to hold if there's a Link player coming against him. Got Astra back and Spawn watching for that angle. I like this reset of the round from 2G.
And because of that, Null Command, there's still so much of that controller util that LZ can draw upon here. Still fully set up for A, have a full execute,
30
get Silence in
seconds left.
position to let the rifle sing. Armageddon first, that's gonna clear Dugout now. Means Vinny's a bit exposed on the side here and... okay.
Look at LZ and Spawn.
No
LZ's
choice.
caught the timing. Full flash though.
Oh, okay.
TEJO finally wins the fight. And now the rest of Loud can move into the site. 10 seconds remaining. PXS puts the spike on the ground. Loud quick on the move. First kill for Pancata. And they keep flooding in. Players from all directions. TEJO is back in main against 2G.
Surely this is good. Yeah,
There's no way you're prepped for that
Oh,
one.
Silence! Okay. Huh. My heart too old for this. Okay, defuse here for Loud. And the game is now within one singular round. 2G fighting, but remember, that was Eco. They were able to upgrade to a rifle there. Silence really put it to use. Kawanzin, or rather Pancata, inexplicably going down to that Armageddon there. Looks like there was nowhere to move on the site. Oh, frustrating, but yeah. It's been such a good half now. Loud have gotten into the game properly.
Good bounce back, that's for sure. Now though, 2G have every ultimate to play with. It's been a while since we've seen them have a couple of these ults in the round, since their streak was kind of put to the end. Last time it was Askia moving in through Art, ending in an A finish. Could turn into something similar in the mid round.
A much less adamant approach to the A main control for 2G this round. They very much let Loud have it. With a, with an asterisk there. It's just Silence sitting back waiting for the push-up.
I do really like how Loud continue to get that forward position. Now TEJO taking that first angle up in A main. Reclear spots nothing, so great timing for 2G to go for a pinch into A now.
What does this reclear from 2G at A main look like? Okay, stealth drone. Okay, Armageddon.
That's a bit premature.
Very much so, yeah. 2G's gonna be able to get out of there. And now they lean here, more in the direction of Art. Askia knows that TEJO is still here. He knows there's a double up, in fact, for Loud. This is scary here. And there's Askia emerging, takes TEJO down instantly. Kawanzin spotted out, of course. That's the Nightfall doing work. A second here for the 2G duelist. He's got to respect that special delivery.
Enemy remains.
As the Steel Gunner comes in, and Askia, he's unstoppable.
30 seconds left.
That's 2 years. Long way away from the action.
Cutting through.
Spike to be planted for backside. Askia going on a journey for that ace. A monstrous round from him.
You kind of called it, these big ultimates for 2G, getting him such an edge. Askia, believe it or not, used Dimensional Drift this round. Camera, his nerve fails him. Askia, though, still on for the ACE. Looks like 2G here. Again, great start to this half. Loud get into it, start to download him a little bit more, and there it is, folks! I by power race for Askia.
Switching sides.
His ultimate that round was crazy. It was a more methodical play, right? But coming in for that wraparound in main, knowing that they were all deafened. So he pops out of this ultimate. I do think TEJO dodged the Nightfall, but still couldn't win that fight. Then Vinny had no chance against him, and that shot there was crisp.
Yeah,
It's now Loud working into this A space early on. LZ getting pushed back, just is super active on that line. Loud doing very nice work to push through the space.
LZ just spent most of that time jockeying back around the corner, and PXS wasn't able to capitalize on any of the damage done. On the side now, okay! Digizine brought down. Silence looks to play out in the open here and spam down through this smoke. It's been effective. 2 years, Cowanzine, both quite low here.
Some angles LZ's trying to work against his own Aster Smoke there. Gobera needs this fight and gets it.
He was getting absolutely hammered by Pancada, but one shot is all it takes apparently. And all that bluff and bluster from Loud early in the round has petered out. They look a little sheepish walking away from A. And Gobera's going to try and meet them here over towards Plaza.
A lot of noise made from Loud. Rotation a bit obvious, and good work from LZ too. Low HP, but he's the guy pushing up. So now that he turns that corner, it's not a re-hit into A, and the rest of his team can move into B. There's going to be 3 players ready to greet the wave of Loud.
There is a sheer wall here in front of LZ, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't care if he gives away his position.
Yeah, if anything, it makes Loud have one player turn around, take them away from this fight on site.
Making your opponents feel like they're on a clock can start to push that mental bandwidth to the limit. Cowanzine desperately low, and a flick from Askia will account for him. Sheer wall's up, and Spike is on the wrong side of it.
Here's the lurk. There you go. There's no time, and we're still not turning around. LZ gets 2 kills on no HP.
Loud are down diabolical after the start of that round.
Wow. It's funny because it's that same thing LZ did on defense Lotus, right? After there was this round, there's A aggression, he opens the door and the Omen pushes through, sees no one there, kills a lurker, and then it's a full rotate from the rest of his team. Here it works out. He even puts a cross-map smoke on site to help his teammates flood through and keep up the pressure against the plant.
Askia immediately has gone for an outlaw here, looking for that solo B presence potentially. Yeah, brutal stuff. Letting them into the game, Loud.
Well, they throw an early knife into A, but end up backing away from the space. That outlaw is still down B.
Askia down B, Loud down bad. They're about to run on a collision course. Silence as well. Have to imagine he has an inkling this is coming his way. No way, dude. Okay, sees a barrel. Okay, gets his one. Only the one, though. Now Askia, a little less solid here, but able to find 2 years comfortably. Correction's not there for Cowanzine, though. He is slowed up for a time.
This fight in Link could be everything. Digizine has a Sheriff. And even numbers. If he had a chance to upgrade, that would have been big. Now, though, with the stall coming on through, Digizine isn't grouped with the team. 2G are ready for the retake.
They're going to play from under for the most part. No tower presence, so this smoke is going to obscure them entirely. Prowler into halls. Still no spike plant. Digizine importantly, but LZ's able to bring Pancada down. That was the outlaw that was supposed to go to work. Forced into an early retirement instead. Nova Pulse, still no plant, by the way. Cowanzine finds his 4th, though. The Bulldog bites. PXS with their Guardian now. What an important round for this newcomer.
Spike down.
He's cool, calm, collected, composed. Digizine has to cross. PXS wary of a flank from the right side. Baits the shot! You cannot ask for much more for a debut showing. Massive Red Bull clutch here in round 14.
Another one for PXS, because, right, Digizine only has 1 bullet in that outlaw. He did so many of these shoulder baits, and he only had the light armor, so it would have been the 1 shot.
Honestly,
great work.
The way he's handled this round, it's giving years of experience. Not first time on stage at Americas.
That's the thing. We're again 2 rounds, pistol second, where Digizine is coming up killless. Now rifle in hand, though.
Yeah, this bonus here, a little nasty for 2G, of course, having such a close, hard-fought round in the prior. Only the Guardian for PXS to pin hopes on. Askia, you'll note, does not have a gate crash active.
Oh, spots the gun there.
Huge info.
And now 2G are able to call in the assistance of Gobera, so he's going to be there on site. Loud haven't really started to work the map. They need to put some attention in mid. There's still this very annoying Vise wall in street that needs to be cleared away.
55 seconds to do all of this here, so highly doable, but Loud are probably going to start to run on a thin margin here. Here's that mid-control aforementioned.
Ooh, if Loud called back into B, it would be great, but 2G have kind of read the A split. 4 players stacked now for 2G on A.
Enough noise to wake the dead, clearing through Art. Here come Loud, armed to the gills, and that's the solo guarding the round singing out there for PXS.
There's 25 seconds.
Oh, in the smoke! You're kidding. LZ able to find just the one. Gabera gets his, an uppercutter, and Tigers are up against it. Silence knows he's got to go for it, and there it is! A nasty thrifty. It's sickening from 2G.
There's just something different in the air right now. 2G winning all these fights. Again, it is PXS, by the way, in main. The same way that Loud were controlling A main on their defensive side, him winning that 1v1 allows him to turn his attention fully back to the site. It creates another brutal angle for Loud to have to clear when they're trying to flood out from Art. It's just not possible, no matter the guns.
And this Loud team, I mean, to be frank, look out at sea, lost, headless. Now with a stinger by in this round, I can only hope that their pace can stymie 2G a little bit here, but I'm shocked that we're looking at such a scoreline. And Kalmanzine, never around to be played for him.
It's the same story. Again, Loud on the attack, but no control over A main. 4 players tethered up in Art. Like, how are you going to fight through this round? It's not really going to happen.
Like, they're just trying to overwhelm. They look like they were dancing around the maypole with 4 of them being seized there. They can at least trade into the map a little bit. It's time into Connector.
At the same time, while all this work is being done in mid, you've got LZ crept up into B long. So you've got 2G giving up mid, but they have full control over both mains and some, you know, insurance policies, whether it's back towards spawn, Silence jiggling the angle for the info.
Okay. Here comes Digizine. So early warning now. Should be able to see Silence. Can he spot out LZ over towards long? That's massive. Now Loud playing without knowledge of a player that's in a bit of a pinch position. Still Digizine being canny about how he starts to swing halls.
30 seconds left.
Weird round. Loud grouped up here in Link for now. LZ waiting for the perfect time to spring forth. There's Digizine down. And still, LZ hit it over and long. Oh, it's cooked. Cooked.
If you're Loud. 2G just got PXS. Had LZ step into IGL this team the other day.
They said they virtually had no practice as a squad. What little practice they had, though, they felt like it's been effective, and can't argue with that.
And even the players we've never seen them play Pearl.
Ask is tucked here, of course, with the contingency, and as soon as that 0 point comes in, he's forced to gate crash out lest he gets stranded there.
Time to jump.
Flash himself onto the line. Where have I seen this before? Ooh.
You're not Digizine, buddy.
Didn't quite go the way he would have liked. Oh, big
Good spot.
Big plaza presence. Is he ready for the second player? This is a little awkward now. You're on a clock. This time the no Vice Wall is going to save you from a backstab, and they're not going to know.
Oh, there's ults everywhere.
Okay, somehow a gap's been found here. Somehow Digizine
Like on the side, shut down. PXS drops and now the fight into Link. Gobert, the sole survivor in that massacre.
Still no plant though. Plenty of time in the round. Plenty. So early has his action been. Gobert has only 7 points of health left, and Loud looks he's set to get back into the game. What they have to do to mimic a fraction of 2G's power is immense, but regardless, it keeps their head above the surging tides.
It's a wake-up call in that timeout from STK. Remember, the first half looked very much like this. Started snowballing away from them again the first 4 rounds in a row. Timeout was called, and Loud buckled down. It comes after Askia whiffs out on the shot, so it's not even a 1-for-1 trade. And then surviving backside. Very unexpected angle for those 2G players to be working against.
First round, one of the half here for Loud. It's not going to be enough in the long run, but it's a start. The op is gone for 2G. They've got no longer have that in possession, but they got Dimensional Drift, they've got Nightfall.
Some monster ults to play off of. And Loud don't really have a split. Again, it's 4 players grouped up in a main and giving some space for 2Es to work the extremities.
This time it's going to be the Astra allocated over towards B for 2G instead of the Yoru.
Yeah, it's very clear what the timeout calling was from SDK. It's let's play 4 grouped together and see what we can do on the lurks with some late inserts. That's going to be Kalmanzine delayed into the A site.
Okay, Gobera's definitely got the potential to keep 2 2G players at this A site. Or rather, Cowanzine.
Yeah, the drone play a bit predictable. 2G still here.
Okay. Well, if this doesn't say, get off my lawn, I don't know what does. Steel Garden thrown down here. 2 years committing that one. This means Loud can sort of walk up in onto the B side now. Got the plant.
The Nightfall Astral Divide combo is so brutal, retaking into the site. Very hard for Loud. You stay on the site, get hit by the Nightfall, play off, be forced away behind the wall.
There it is. Both those ultimates committed. Here's Loud, trying to converge and be in position to fight for this, but it's going to be tough. 2 years down. Vinny also falling into Askia if he Cowanzine. And he doesn't know where he's coming from. And what is that? It's otherworldly. Extrasensory perception from Cowanzine. I don't know how he knew Askia was coming from there, and that's what it takes to keep this going, really?
The back of his neck was tingling, right? Those hairs standing up, goosebumps. Cowanzine, 10 HP. He's like, oh, this guy's just behind me, boom.
I mean, that is pure instinct. Pure instinct. Cowanzine now in his second year on this Loud team, already looking so promising to start with in 2024. Continuing to grow in this role. Savior of the round.
Okay, so Louder still sort of in this game. 2G work onto a bad buy, doing a bit of an aggro piece into A. Just some sheriffs back to B. But even then, Loud still have the ultimates. They've been pretty liberal committing those ultimates, in even on these anti-ecos. Just making sure they secure these rounds.
Okay, Ditch Team just goes for contact there. Askia serves himself up. 2G really not in a position to argue with this A hit, but the spike was left back. It was a bit more of a default look here, so there will be time for these defenders, underarmed as they are, to get set.
2G's position is crazy. He's working into the art insert while his team is planting over on B. Got a lot of time to work with.
More stall here for 2G. This time it's Gobera's util.
You can see 2G is really trying to hunt out this lurk. They haven't seen 2E's. They know he's going to be trying something.
No way, man. This is the long barrel, I'll say that much, yeah? The long barrel of the law is thwarted. PXS now gets an outlaw. Obviously the spike does go down after some stall there from the defenders. Again, still, it's tough. They've got a stinger, they've got an outlaw to work with. Here's a horn, sees nothing. Stealth drone sees nothing. Silence sees nothing.
One enemy remaining.
And that's up to PXS now. It's a big ask for him. Vinny's starting to get into the game a little bit more. He might have just doubled his frags in that round, I'm not going to lie.
This round coming up might be the hardest for Loud. Got a couple ultimates to work with for 2G. Full buy on their side too.
Okay, not the most complex round. A walk up there from Loud. Some superior weapons, good crossfires. This comeback here, well and truly underway. That's 3 rounds in a row for Loud. 2G now go back to buy. They've got key ultimates as well. Steel Garden, Armageddon at the ready. But Loud has a fast hit potential behind Null Command, should they want to go that way.
Early scouting doesn't spot anything. That's both info pieces from Loud spent immediately in the round. Usually that would indicate a faster acceleration, so they throw out the clone, that breaks the wall. It's going to set up for a later pivot into A.
That was an awkward shoulder peek for Askia. Punishable.
What Loud are going to do is they're going to dip into street here, see if they can find anything. That would have threatened to pinch in towards B, but quickly look to reset into the A. But the important thing for Loud is this A main player. We have not seen this player win the fights in the solo spot. If Pankata can't take down Askia, this round is so hard to play.
We'll be tracking that. Askia waiting, watching the slimmest line. Gobera forced back now, realizes what's happening, but doesn't have any time to get that util out. Null Command is popped. Askia stranded in this position. Currently suppressed. Gate crash not an option. Kankata's going to keep him here. Hold him under the thumb. In place. Here comes the reinforcements now flashing through the smoke. Askia tried to reposition and it gets him 1 kill. Still no spike plant. Loose towards A main. Now scooped up and en route to the site. Steel Garden comes in now. That was from the defenders here. More stall. More denial of a plant.
But there's only 20 seconds. They need to get the spike down onto the ground. Couple of prowlers for LG to work with. Gobera has the ultimate too. The time is going away.
Vinny knows he's got a touch. Can Gobera time this properly? He cannot hear. That's the problem. Cosmic Divide prevents him from getting the sound cue that he needs, and the spike goes down. Here's the Armageddon though. Nobody there to be affected by it, but it'll still be a cleanup. It's up to Pancada here versus 4. 2G now trying to give themselves a staging ground to end the series, but Pancada stands up, finds 2. It's unreal! Okay. In we go now, pressed up against the barrier. Loud have definitely been fighting for this control here of A-Man and trying to have Pancada as a loose end here. We got a walk up from Askia. Okay, man. That is the jackpot.
Time to jump.
Looks like Louder still wanting to contest this space. Get the orb.
Fake teleport.
Gatecrash obviously back towards spawn, so Askia has the ability to get to B quickly should it be required. Loud know they've got some time to work with. There'll of course be a large amount of utility that has to be cleared on this B side of the map, and Tuyas is hoping to get ahead of the game and find something. He does!
Nice.
LZ offers him up a frag.
And that's going to pull one player over towards B while Loud trying to work into Art. Good little 1-2 punch setup from 2G, but Loud doing their homework, clearing away those angles and moving it back into that lurk to B.
It's diligent use of the util there for Loud, not taking any undue risks. Now trying to control that B side as Tuyas wants to pave the way. Okay, that's a problem. That complicates things. Silent though is affected by that Nova Pulse, but is safe here for the time being. And there's another player here for 2G. Gatecrash now into halls.
Almost a disaster there. Getting picked off by Silence. You know, Spike will go down. 2G have the numbers advantage, but no real util to work off.
Again, Loud don't have much post plant util to lean on now. They're trying to buy a little bit of time, get some space, but PXS is poised, ready. It's going to be a flood here from 2G trying to come out from Hall, trying to take the fight here. Askia gets one, but it's not enough. It'll be PXS versus 2. You can't ask him to do it again, to repeat the feat from the previous clutch. He'll be spotted out and dealt with by Digizine. It is a one-round game.
Loud just continuing to ride this wave of momentum. Digizine will have the ult. Askia looks like he wants to buy up into the operator. Trying to challenge for some of these opening fights.
One enemy remaining.
This is it. It's your last best chance here for 2G
It's my
to make things happen. Otherwise, you're at serious risk of letting Loud run away with this one. Dimensional drift as well for Askia, so plenty of early warning mechanism. Here come Loud.
It's the wrong guess from Askia though, playing towards the A side. A lot of utility to scout out, sees nothing.
The Gatecrash though is all the way across the map.
It's true. And Loud are never really going to be able to accelerate when the Vise is set up towards B.
Who's next?
Okay, Gatecrash not taken by Askia.
Trying to see if there's anyone on site, which there isn't.
Digizine could drift into halls entirely here. There's so much free control. 2G have to go for a full retake.
It's even worse than that. Askia's teleport time down. Now the fight back into spawn with Silence falling.
2G need to be an active participant in this round. They cannot simply look on as it just happens. And they've got to, again, awkwardly come out from this position. From tower, from under, from Link, into a full 5 of Loud, who are armed to the gills and ready to defend their territory. Here's that dimensional drift. It's surely garnered some information, but he could have surmised there'd be a couple of Loud players here. Askia with the classic of all things. Vinny taken down, Pancada's missing. All of a sudden, this has been turned on his head. Digizine so low, and PXS chases him down. It falls to Tuyas, the veteran. As LZ begins the defuse, Tuyas thinks it's just a tap, he goes for the spray. It's wayward, it's ham-fisted, it's off the mark! And the defuse comes in. 2G are at match point.
Finally, one of these late rounds goes their way. And it's not because Tuyas wasn't getting the kill. He kills everybody. There's just the smoke allows them to stick through with the spike. That was madness. I mean, first of all, how are you getting that kill? I think LZ, Gobert, and Askia all won ridiculous 1v1s at the same exact time. But it was that flood coming in, every single player jumping out of a smoke behind a corner at the same time. Just overwhelmed Loud.
again, it's messy, it's costly for 2G, so they win the round, they are broke. Absolutely. Skint. Of course, they have a chance to take a back seat here and just fight for that round 24, but yeah, it was very costly for them.
If they can try and get one of these opening fights in mid, bait out a couple of ults from Loud.
This is no way. Oh, 2 years. Okay, gets very fortunate. It's having to back away and get a Razorbind down.
No
What?
way!
Silence, he's ahead of this wall. He's ahead of the Cosmic Divide.
The wall's gonna buy so much time from the Astral. There's the second player flooding in already. 2G can fight this through, and Loud can't even commit.
Still a minute to play with, and there's a good chance you can bounce back across the map. That seems to be the plan for Loud.
But even with time, Loud have no position on the map. All of their players are in spawn. They didn't leave an insert towards B. That's the spike. They actually can't. So now, Loud almost have to attack into the center of the map or get completely called on their rotate.
And that Steel Garden is completely pointless for 2 years. There's no impact virtually on this round. Into Art we go. 2G very quickly, rallying themselves here to Secret, to Flowers. Are we pump faking this?
It looks like the last round of
30
Lotus, I'm not
seconds
gonna lie. 2G have numbers advantage. They over-rotate towards A because they want to play numbers. No way he's getting timing like this.
Yeah.
There's no way Loud are back in the game. And just in, with rifles, you have to remember Loud have the guns.
Steel Guarding going to be thrown down anyway by 2 years. Takes the one stinger out of the game.
10 seconds.
Fair enough. Grapple down, Pancata gonna get the spike deployed. Askia very, very low. With a stinger here playing from tower, it's an awkward spot to be. Nightfall here, there's a retake wall, but do you want to spend these ultimates in a round like this, 2G? Probably no. As PXS steps up, knocked down instantly, LZ gets his one. This should be a Loud round, they've got control, player advantage, everything you could ask for. Great macro, the bounce back over towards B.
Yeah.
And there's Askia, taken to task. Here comes round 24. It's about as important as it gets.
Exactly, and here's the thing. 2G lost the round, but they pulled the two big ults. They didn't waste any of their own. So they've got Nightfall, they've got Cosmic Divide, they're one off of Silence in the Steel Garden. So they can afford to sort of group together, fight very heavy on one side, play full retake into their Vise if they want to, because those ults combo beautifully together.
Okay, they've got those to lean on, as you mentioned. This is for extra innings. This is Loud getting back into the game. They won, what, like 6 of the last 7 rounds here? Askia. This could be so pivotal, pushing up onto this line that Kaunzin is prepared for it again.
Wow, they had 3 players on a high-low there. Couldn't get the kill.
He took 0 damage at that.
That's huge.
Now Loud.
2G want to show the idea of aggression, but really, they want to play numbers and they want to play retake. They don't want to risk any of those players with the big ults falling early in the round.
Yeah, I mean, they want to project a willingness to fight, but they'd rather just negotiate from a position of power. That's it. They want the fight to get close in onto this site. They've got the perfect ultimates for it.
And the more stall that comes in, the better and better it starts to look. That spike is still in spawn. This is all a ruse from Loud. This is trying to pull rotates. It's not actually trying to accomplish much of anything.
Okay, Didge's in. Gatecrash back to the spike location. 2G opt not to, insert anyone over towards A main. Loud might still be forced to use the util to clear that part of the map.
I mean, timing on rehit would be good. The Fade is rotated away, so it's only 2 players holding.
Doing this again?
And again, look at Art in mid. Like, Loud have found some potentially impact lurks.
They get spotted out here. Silence critical here with the Sheriff earlier on. Here's a Nightfall. This is going to slow things up.
20 seconds!
Not a lot of time to work with. And there's Silence getting rid of Vinny. The lurker there through mid. There's another one coming. I don't know if he's going to be ready for it, but it may not matter. 2G
10 seconds left.
on the precipice of doing it.
Down B.
In disarray, losing their leader, take their first win of Americas. In a debut for PXS. Silencing the doubters and maybe the doubt in their own minds as well.
That is unbelievable. Loud looking stunned on the other side of the stage. With the havoc of this last week in the 2G camp to come out and 2